Us. Konbanwa. Genki desu ka? Hope you are genki desu. Hope you're well on this Tuesday, the 9th of March, I think it is. Good evening. Welcome to Karate in Your Own Dojo with Sensei Scoot. Going to continue with our Kion syllabus tonight. Okay, so last week we did the basic punches and blocks and some of the kicks as well. This evening we're going to go on to kicks and kicking combinations that progress from white belt through to black belt. So we're just going to be doing some practice in that. So we start off, as we did last week, with the basic technique to start with for the appropriate grade level. Then we add in the combinations as they come pertinent to the grade, if that makes sense. So white belts, you'll learn how to do the technique on its own, and then say greens and purples will be doing a slightly different combination maybe, and then brown to black belt will be doing different combinations altogether. So that's the plan. So following the same format as last week, because I think it worked quite well. Try and get room if you can for 2 or 3 forwards. That'd be great. I can only generally get 2 in. I don't have a huge amount of space. The camera makes it look enormous. It's because it's a 0.5 lens, estate agent trick, I'm going to say. So yeah, having a wide angle lens makes a big difference, but I don't actually have any room really, 2 meters squared probably. So you don't need a huge amount of space. If you can only do 1 forward, 1 backwards, that's absolutely fine. Okay, that's absolutely fine. So please don't worry about that. So I did a quick update on the Facebook page last night, and I have more confirmation today that as of the 12th of April, we will be able to start inviting our juniors back into the dojo, providing, and that's only providing, the government doesn't change anything, and our providers of the dojos allow us to come back. Because that's the biggest issue, is that, as you well know, our main dojos, the schools, would not let us return throughout the coronavirus pandemic. So we've not been back to Potton or Sandy, our Honbu dojo, since last March. So it's been a whole year almost. In fact, it was very much this weekend, I think, that we had Akita sensei over. Then we had about 2 weeks in the dojo, and that was it. We were closed, which is really disappointing, obviously. So, we hope to get back to those 2 dojos because they're our biggest dojos. But I foresee the earliest dojo to open will either be the temporary one at Biggleswade or the one that we've been using in Gamlingay, the Eco Hub, because that has become a regular dojo as we move forwards. So that's all sort of good. Adults, I'm so sorry, but you have to wait until the 17th of May. Okay, so 12th of April for juniors and 17th of May for adults. I know you're probably thinking the same question that I asked, and that was, what, the juniors teach themselves? No, they're allowed to have a couple of instructors to teach them, but obviously I can't have 35 instructors and say 6 children. So it will just be the instructors team that will be able to train from April. We can actually train outside from the 29th of March. Okay, so that's another possibility, but we have to find a venue that is safe, public, but or even private land is fine, as long as we have permission to use it and it's a safe area. We can train in trainers, so that's fine. Okay, so it doesn't need to be a completely perfect surf, such as a cricket pitch. But if you can think of anywhere where we could train outside as the weather becomes better, I could do a spring course at Easter outside somewhere. So the rules are changing constantly, as you all know, and I'm trying to keep you updated as best I can. So hopefully from at least maybe the 29th of March, we might be able to get to meet up outside. 12th of April, juniors back into the dojo, anyone under 17 and under basically. And then from the 17th of May, the rest of the class, the adults, back in the dojos. And then hopefully from 21st of June, if Boris is correct, we'll be able to train freely and partner up and do all wonderful things like we used to back in the day. Do you remember those times in the early part of 2020? Seems a long time ago, doesn't it? So that's kind of the future coming forwards. Remember, we've got our spring keiko. Keiko is Japanese word for training. Okay, so that comes up on the 27th of March. You need to contact me. I'll give you the Zoom link, and you'll be able to join that and train with myself and a few other people on Saturday the 27th, 9 o'clock in the morning till 10:30. That's all, an hour and a half training. Do lots of different karate moves, techniques, etc. Have a bit of fun. And hopefully make that interesting for you. It's our first spring keiko. So I came up with the idea the other day thinking we ought to do a spring keiko. So there you go, that's it. Of course, that does mean that we're going to have to do an autumn and summer and a winter one as well. But, I like training, so that's okay. So we'll say our usual hellos to people, because I can see a lot of people are signed in, which is absolutely lovely. Thank you so much. That's made my evening. And then we'll get on with the training. So just be mindful, because we're kicking this evening predominantly, of where you are in your dojo, wherever that may be. Okay, and just please don't smash anything, because I will get in trouble. Okay, so us. Let's just have a quick say hello, then we'll do a formal kneeling bow, warm up, and we'll get going. Okay, so good evening, Ken. Good evening, Harry M. How are you, young man? Hope you are well. Harry, just so you know, I'm starting to rewatch all of the Star Wars movie in chronological order, which I've never done before, because obviously I went to see the original in 1977. But hey, Christian, good evening. Zach, hi, Zach. How are you? Hope you're okay. Us. Good evening, Tim. Nice to see you earlier today, Tim. Saw that worked briefly. Had to go somewhere else. Good evening, Andy Sensei. Hope you're well. Good evening, Paul and Lucy. Good evening, Isaac. Good evening, other Andy Sensei. Good evening, Dexter. Hope you're well, Dexter. Good evening, Nina and Zoe. Hope you are well. Good evening, Harry. And good evening, Kayla. Excellent. It's nice to see you all. And thank you for joining us again in the dojo. So what I'm going to do is leave the computer alone. Okay. And what we'll do is we use some karate moves from the basics that we did last week to warm up this evening. So rather than this, so we'll do the kneeling bow to start with, and then we'll get going. Okay. Shotokan ladies first of all. Hey, Kyotsuke. Ziza. Show right? Sensei, right? Boss. Take right, boss. Boss. Okay, so let's limber the arms up first of all, just check the legs off. I find C's are really difficult. Too much lower leg injuries and surgery, unfortunately for me. So I always need to shake my legs off once I've done the kneeling bow. Remember, if you can't do the kneeling bow because of injury, please don't try to do it. Just bow, standing up. It's absolutely fine. Okay, Kyotsuke, height rate, os. Okay, ayoi, shizentai, so ayoi stance. Okay, hachidachi. So hachidachi forms part of the shizentai stances, of which there are about 5. Okay, so left arm out chokazuki. So this is the start of everybody's grading, regardless of your grade. This is a good way of warming up. So just nice and slow, nice and relaxed, 10 punches. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, siege, hach, ko, jo, hai. Excellent. Okay, so now medium speed. Remember, medium speed doesn't mean necessarily stronger. It means faster. Faster, in turn, will mean stronger. Okay, so medium speed, chokazuki. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, siege, hach, go, jo, hai. Hey, excellent. Okay, relax those shoulders again. So now speed up, fast speed. Okay, 8 punching 10 times, and ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, siege, hach, go, jo, hai. Hey, amazing. I'm ready, boss. Hey, Kyotsuke. I was going to say Kiai everyone on the last set, but I'll be perfectly honest, I suddenly realised we're in our houses and my family's upstairs, and I don't think they really need to hear 10 Kiais, nor do my neighbours, and probably the rest of your families too. So I suddenly thought of that as we were about to start the 10 fast punches. So we'll still Kiai, but not as much as maybe I would normally in the dojo. You know me, lots of Kiais. Hey, Haisukudachi, so feet together stance. Again, remember this forms part of the Shizentai stances. Okay, so this is heels together and toes together as much as you can. And just kick in Sonoba, Maigeri on the spot, Chudan. Okay, so just this height here. Remember, look straight ahead. Don't look down on the floor, okay? Whenever we kick, people often look at the floor. You don't need to. If you just look straight ahead, your kick will generally go the direction of where you're looking, okay? So aim your knee where you want it to go. Aim your knee where you want that kick to go, okay? Kick ball of the foot, remember Koshi, just this part of the foot, okay? And then bring it back down together. And again, try not to feel your feet coming together. Look at your feet, but feel as they touch together. Yeah, learn how to control your body. It's really, really interesting when you can do that. We play a game in my house, which no one else can do. It doesn't make me any better than them. We've just had a lot more practice. Join your fingers together. It's really easy when you look at them, but close your eyes and do it. Can you do it? Yeah, my family can't. I can. It's easy. Just about controlling your body. Okay? But this is a similar sort of thing, but on a bigger level. So we're carrying the leg, kick in Maigeri, bring the foot back down. Keep control, just slow speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hey, back to heels. Good. Okay, so keep that stance. Relax your shoulders, relax your hips, let your hips sink down. Okay, so now same thing, flicking, Maigeri, Chudan. Medium speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, go. Kirai 10. Yeah. Hey, and back down. Notice how I try to keep control of the leg at all times. This enables us to be able to kick again, multiple kicks, other techniques, punches, etc., so you can keep going, okay? One thing in Jukumite, when you're actually fighting, sparring somebody, is if you kick and you miss, you can potentially, it can be game over if you've got nothing else, okay? And you should never put yourself in that position. You should always have something else. There has to be some backup plan, followed by another and another. Oops. Okay, so you can't just kick and expect to hit. It doesn't work like that. Life isn't like that, is it? Okay, now speed up. Okay, not too strong. More thinking about keeping control of the leg. Okay, and making good technique, good waza. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hey, and ready. Hey, Inui. Okay, Holly, as you can see, is trying to go to sleep, and my key eyes keep making her jump. So I suspect she'll get fed up with me pretty soon and go and jump upstairs at some point. Okay, so us. Okay, so we've done just a quick warm up there of just Chokozuki Sonoba Maigeri. Okay, so standing position Maigeri. So what we're going to do is we start the kicking combinations now as we move forwards. Okay, and just sort of refer to the syllabus book. Okay, if I just bring our syllabus back up to you. If you're contemplating grading, thinking of grading, okay, at any time in karate, you need to refer to your syllabus book. Whatever association or organisation you're part of will have one of these. And this is essentially your guide to what's coming next for the next belt you're going for. So ours is quite simple. So it's junior syllabus, okay, and this is 3rd Q, so this is brown belt, grading for brown belt, okay? So if you are a purple and white stripe, this is the grading you're looking, and then it just lists the different things that you're going to do. So on here, you can see that we have already kicks such as Maigeri, Yokogeri Kiyagi, Yokogeri Kikomi, Maoshi-geri, Yushiro-geri. So we've got the big 5, okay? We've got the big 5 there. If you go back a few pages and you go to just, say, the 10th Q syllabus, which is for blue belt, you've got no kicks at all except the Sonoba Maigeri. So that's it, straightforward. The second grading, though, you'll notice that you start to kick forwards. And then you'll kick forwards Maigeri, then you put in Yokogeri Kikomi and Kiyagi in around yellow, green belt. Purple belt, as I say, you come into the double kicks. Just before the double kicks, you'll come into 4 kicks. So Maigeri, Kiyagi-geri, Kikomi-geri, and Maoshi-geri. 5 kicks for brown belt. And then once you've gone behind brown belt, that's when you start to see combination kicking. Okay, combination kicking is more than 1 kick, so multiple kicks. So you've got quite a bit of practice. I mean, up to brown belt, potentially 2-3 years to practice your kicks, your geri, before you start to put him into combinations. So what I'm going to do this evening is kind of share a journey between the grades of these different varying kicks, etc., as best I can. Okay. So ready. Hey, yoi. Okay, step forward, Gidan Barai. Hey. Okay, so just from here, put your hands to the side to help your balance, your baransu. Okay, and remember we're going to kick forward just chudangeri, and I'm going to make room for 2. Okay, so if you are able to do 2, then great. If you're not, do 1. If you're able to do 5, you're very lucky, and I'm very jealous because your dojo is bigger than mine. Okay, so we're going to kick Maegeri Chudan. Okay, and we're just going to show you, we're going to kick forwards and backwards, but I'm just going to change angle so you can see the kick that we're doing. So your posture is really important. Try not to lean forwards, try not to lean back, try not to your hips sink. Don't have your stance too long so you can't move. Okay, so your stance should be here. And you need to be flexible in your stance. You shouldn't be locking out your back leg. Okay, because you won't be able to move forwards, not to kick. So we're going to kick forwards, Maegeri, Chudangeri, how you step down, and then the other leg, ish, like so. And then we'll turn back leg across, Gidambarai. Okay, and then we'll square the hips off again to Shomen, so we're able to kick back, Maegeri, Chudan. Okay, turn Gidambarai. So each time you turn Gidambarai, okay, when you turn Gidambarai, your hips are hammy. Yeah, Shomen and hammy hips. Okay, so your hips are hammy, and then when you square your arms off, your hips come forwards. Okay, you use your hip in a different way for kicking. Okay, and Mwashigeri use it very differently. So we'll talk about that later. So let's kick forwards then. Maegeri Chudan, 2 forwards, Mote 2 back. Okay, and then we're going to change the height of the kick to Jodan. So this is for white belt. Okay. 10th Q, blue belt, going for 9th Q. So going for red belt, orange belt, yellow belt, green belt. I think it continues through, as a basic kick, pretty much through to brown belt. Ayoi, step forward, Gidambarai, Kamae, Kiai, inch. Hey, sorry, I just brought the dog up again. Not going to be popular this evening. Okay, so kicking Maegeri Chudan. Okay, so make sure we bring the knee up, supporting leg stays bent. Keep your balance. Your arms are here to help that, but this is what helps it best. Okay, so this is your suspension. Okay, if it's straight, your suspension won't be very good. If it's bent, you have more control. Keep the knee tight to the body. That way you have better control. Full stop. So kicking Maegeri Chudan. Each. Hey knee. Hey turn. Gidambarai. Each. Square those hips off, kicking back, Maegeri, Chudan, each. Hey, knee. Hey, turn, Gidambarai. And then hand back to the side here. Okay, so to kick Jodangeri, knee needs to come higher. So Chudan here, Jodan, much higher. Okay, if you want to kick above your own head height, which is crazy, I don't know why you would, your knee needs to be really high. Your knee does not flex the other way. Likewise, our elbow does not go beyond this point. Once it's straight, that's it. If it goes the other way, it's generally broken. Same here. Okay, so kicking Jodangeri, same rules. Stance is basic, hands to the side. But this time, the knee must come higher. Okay, and you only really want to ever go for your own Jodan. You don't need to go above that. As much as it may look cool, your stability has gone, so your technique won't be as good. So kicking Jodangeri, just to your chin height. Okay, same thing. Turn Gidambarai, hips at hand knee, square them off. Kicking back Jodangeri. Okay, and then Yame. So we do 2 of those forwards and 2 more Wote. Remember you're kicking Koshi, the ball of the foot. Okay, don't use any other part of the foot, please, not toes. Keep the toes away from the end. Okay, right? Yoi. 8 step forward, Gidambarai. Come on, each. Okay, so kicking Maegeri Jodan. Each. And knee. Hey, Mote turn. Kicking Jodangeri, each. And knee. And Mote turn. Hey, Yame. And ready. Hey, Inoi. And relax. Okay. I just thought of something which has completely escaped my mind, which will come back to me in about 30 seconds whilst I delay and talk to you. Okay. But when we're kicking Maegeri in particular, okay, make sure that you keep the leg and foot as close to the body as you possibly can. So when I first started learning karate many years ago, we definitely used to kick like this. Okay, we used to try to extend our kicks way beyond our axis point, our jiku, okay, which in turn tilted the back. And in fact, if you look at lots of the books that were around in the 70s and 80s and 90s, you see quite a lot of karateka leaning back to gain distance and height. The problem is you straight away have got an imbalance there. So 30 years of training has taught me that that's not a good place to be. This is a good place to be. So trying to keep the body upright. So the body stays upright, the knee stays into the body as much as possible, because if I put it there, straight away my jiku is all compromised. Okay, so I'm starting to fight my body for balance. Okay, but if I sit down on the supporting leg, bring this in tighter, I have more control. My hips are more control. Then I can kick and I can bring back and I can kick again. So I'm in control, not the foot, not the weight of the leg. Okay, and I think that's something I've learned over the years. So try to keep your body as upright as possible. And the thing that I've forgotten about, which I knew would come back as soon as I kicked, is try to remain the same height. Okay, so I'll give you a bad example. Low stance, come up, kick, step down. Low stance, come up, kick, step down. Now that's exaggeration, and the 0.5 lens, I don't know if it shows that properly or not, okay? But bobbing up and down is not a good thing. My sensei always taught me, imagine you're under a ceiling that is the same height as your head when you're in Zenkutsudachi. So, here. This is the height I'm allowed to go. That I can't go any higher than that because my head goes through the roof. He said, don't ever put your head through a ceiling. Okay, so quite rightly, if I keep this height and keep this knee where it is, I should be able to kick Maigeri and kick comfortably. Making sure I don't kick the dog. If I straighten the front leg, I come up. See how high I come up? I think the back of the unit gives you quite a good example of that. You can see me bobbing up and down. So there will be some movement, don't get me wrong, there's going to be some movement, but it doesn't need to be 6 inches. So try to keep this leg supported so you're able to kick Maigeri on the Chudan or Jodan and the same height. Okay, so that's something to have in your mind, okay, about keeping control of the leg by sitting down, sinking the hip squeeze. Shime, contraction here. Okay, this gives you better stability. Kick, control, put down. It's not easy, it takes a lot of practice, okay? Kicking is, I think, a difficult experience for most people. Your legs are huge limbs, they're enormous. So they take time and energy and practice to control. Some people are naturally born good at kicking. I probably was one of those people, to be honest. When I started karate, I found it easy. I was tall and gangly and very, very skinny. And so I was bringing my legs up here. I could do the splits. I could do the front splits comfortably. Never been able to do the side splits. None of that's important. Yeah, none of that's important. I used to go to competitions every weekend, and I used to see guys do the box splits, just like Jean-Claude Van Damme. And sorry, it's only the instructors that will know who he is. Okay, but he used to do the box splits famously, and makes no difference to karate whatsoever. I used to quite laugh actually when I used to see people do it in front of me, so they knew they were going to fight me in the next round maybe, and they used to drop into box splits as an intimidation type factor. And I always have to do a little chuckle and just go, ooh, that hurts. So yeah, none of that's important. What's important is technique, your waza. Okay, so this, if this is your Zenkutsudachi, this stays here. This is your foundation for your kick. Kick, and then you're able to kick, come back. Kick, come back. Kick, come back, and have control of the leg. Okay, so right. Hey, you wait. And step forward, down, get under right. Ich. Okay, so kicking Maigeri Jordan. So kicking jogging. Ich. Hey, knee. Mawate turn. Hey, kicking back. Ich. Knee. Hey, Mawate turn. Okay, so just to finish this combination off then, we're going to kick two chudangeris on the way forwards towards towards each other, not that I can see you, okay? We're kicking forwards, maigeri, actually let's change, let's do maigeri chudan, maigeri jodan. Okay, so we'll show the difference. So kick into the stomach first of all, each. Same kick, same control. Ni, the jodan. Mawate turn. Chudangeri, each. A jodangeri, ni. Mawate turn. And yame. Hamri. Hey, inoi. Relax. Okay, good. So, using your syllabus book, you will be able to tell where you are in terms of your grade, whether you're junior and the adult syllabus is just a little bit further back. Okay, you'll be able to see your kick combination. So once you've learned maigeri, you know that that's front snap kick. Then we go on to yokogeri kiagi, yokogeri komi, mawashi-geri, and then yushira-geri. Okay, and that's what we're going to go through next. Within these, you then start to develop kicking combinations. Okay, kicking combinations. So I'm going to show you the one for maigeri before we move on to the other kicks, purely because it doesn't really start until second cue. Okay, so this is brown and 2 white stripes. So going for that grade day. So you're already a brown belt, you're established in terms of kicking maigeri, but now we're going to start to use a combination. Okay, and our combination is maigeri kizami gyakuzuki. Maigeri kizami gyakuzuki. Okay, so wait. Yoi. And juniors can have a go at this, and anybody who's lower grade, doesn't matter, it's just a bit of fun. Hey, step forward, get under, right? Each. Okay, so kick in maigeri. So the kick is the same, kicking chudangeri, but then we're going to land with the front punch. So if our right leg kicks, land with the right hand, that's right leg. As you land, you punch, and then reverse punch. So I'll just demonstrate slow speed. Okay, so kick in maigeri, kizamazuki, gyakuzuki. Okay, so as I kick again, this hand has to come back to here. So kick, balance, punch 1, punch 2. Morte turn. Again, hand stays on hip. Kick, punch, punch, kick, punch, punch. Show you over here. Oh, sorry, Hollywood. Sorry, dude. I'm in the doghouse, literally. So, from this position here, okay, or this position here makes no difference. So, kicking maigeri, hip, kizamazuki, gyakuzuki. Kick maigeri, hands to hip, kizamazuki, gyakuzuki. Kicking maigeri, kizama, gyak. Maigeri, gyak. Hey, yeah. And what we're doing here now, as higher grades with brown belts going towards black belt, etc., we're putting techniques together. So we're putting waza together and making combinations. Okay, so this is a really good fighting combination. Yeah, you could do front leg maigeri, kizami, gyakuzuki. You could definitely do a back leg maigeri, then with the front punch, reverse punch. You could do this as jukumite, and it works. I know, because I've used it. So you're using a real life technique or combination that will work in a combative situation. Yeah, where you're fighting, sparring, whatever. So it's quite a nice technique, I think, to do. But it's quite simple. Our grading syllabus is based on maigeri being done correctly in the first place. And then as we did last week, when we build up the combinations, we're making sure, that when we add in other techniques, the basic kick does not change. The basic fundamentals, the stance, the body position, the hips, the control, everything stays the same. Kick. See, now I can do what I want to do. I can step down. I can kick again. I can kick again. I can punch. I can kick. I can change that. I have control. So hopefully that will make sense. Okay, so yoi, So 2 forwards and Mawote turn 2 back. Step forward, right, and step forward, Gidan Barai. Ich, hai. So kicking Maigeri Kazami Gyakuzuki. Ich. Ni. はい、Mawote turn. Ich. Ni. Mawote turn. And Yamai. Amri. Os. It's warm in my dojo this evening. I hope it is in yours too. Okay, so going back to our reference guide. Okay, you will see the juniors. Let's change here. So brown and white belts are going for second Q show, Maigeri. Okay, and then second Q, Maigeri Kazami Gyakuzuki. Okay, now you will practice that technique all the way through your Shotokan. If you think of Maigeri the same as your Oizuki or your Gyakuzuki, your basic kick, that's exactly what it is. A Kion kick, maybe some would say. Okay, because it's one of the first kicks you learn, but it's also one of the last kicks you do. So you don't ever stop doing this kick. So it's really important to get the basic parts of it correct. Okay, so thinking about that knee up, thinking about your balance, your posture. Okay, no tilting forwards or backwards, sideways or sideways. Really, really important part of your karate. Okay, great. We're not spending individual time on teaching the techniques too much. We just want to kind of show you what's in the syllabus book, really, to be honest, so you know what you're doing for your grade. Most people should have the syllabus books by now, but obviously if there's beginners watching and people thinking of coming to the dojo when we're back open, then you will get one of these and you will be able to start learning it in the classes anyway. Okay, kick 2 of these 5 basic kicks that we use to start with. Yokogeri Kiyagi. So when we do Yokogeri Kiyagi as a training technique, okay, we tend to do it in Kibarachi, so side stance. So when we do this kick, we tend to go sideways. You can do Yokogeri Kiyagi from front stance, but as I was in deep discussion with my black belts and often am, I personally don't rate that as a kick. Okay, it's good for training in some aspects because it makes you think about the kick, but as a technical kick to be effective, Maigeri is a much better kick to use, or Kikomigeri is a much better kick to use in front stance than Kiyagi. And there was bound to be people watching that would argue that and absolutely would be right to do so. My personal opinion is there are far better kicks. And in fact, I can think of the other 4 than that one moving forwards. Okay, so I would choose all of the other kicks over Kiyagi moving forwards. So we're going to do it in side stance. Okay, now you're not going to have much room for this. So this is the one where you sit in Kibarachi, you cross over, and then you snap kick side up, side on. So I'm going to show you sideways. I think that's the best thing to do. I can also show you this angle so you can see the foot as well when it comes up. Now, the kick that we're doing today can be Chudangeri or Jodan, okay? But effective-wise, here and here are 2 of the good target areas, okay? And here. So this is your Jodan, Nodan. The Nodo, I think it is throat in Japanese. I think Nodo is Japanese, is throat. So that's as high as you will need to go. But the stance you're in is side stance. Now, side stance, be careful. Don't go too wide. Don't force your knees out. Okay? If you force your knees out, they're not natural. You need to get your karate so you're natural. So this is natural flexion. If you do this, I'm afraid you'll end up like Sensei, and I've had 3 knee surgeries, okay? And it's all from kicking incorrectly for years and doing stances incorrectly. No one's fault but my own, but that's the way, you know, we did things back then. Now we're using more science, more brains, okay? The biology of the body, okay, working it all through. This is a better Kibarachi, not too wide. Naturally, my knees are just sitting down. Horse riding, this is the position I would be in, and this is called horse riding stance. I wouldn't be with my knees out. I have no control over the horse. So you have to think about this. The basic principles of this stance are that we were riding a horse. Because the samurai back in the day in Japan many years ago rode on horseback, okay? Phenomenal archers and swordsmen, as you well probably know. So get your stance comfortable. Don't focus too much on that right now. We're going to focus on the kick. Okay, so make sure your knees are bent. If you do Kiyagi from here with your legs straight, one, you're doing it wrong, but also actually it makes it harder. So it's better to sit down and be comfortable. So back into stance. Okay, now your hands, you're going to tuck them beyond your axis point, so your jiku point here. And the reason for this is that this naturally straightens the shoulders and shoulder blades and stops you from doing this, which means you're leaning forward. Now for me, that's my natural rounded shoulders, which is not good. So this is better for me, okay? You don't want to be leaning back. You want to be on your jiku point, your center line as well, yeah? So make sure that your hands are behind that line, your hip line is probably the right words I'm looking for. Okay, so get yourself into stance, hands behind, look into the direction that you wish to go, okay? And we're going to do this in stages, so we're going to come across with the right foot, so the left foot stays where it is, and we stay the same height, we don't come up and down, so we keep the same height. So hands behind the body, same height. And in your knee, remember your supporting leg, so your right leg in this case, okay, stays as the supporting leg. Your other knee is going to be facing the direction that you want your kick to go, which is there. This stays the same. Your supporting leg, as it was before, was bent, this remains bent. If it comes up, you come up, your kick comes up. Okay. If you tilt to get more height, yes, that looks good, particularly for photos, but is actually incorrect. So keep the same height if you can. So you come across, the knee comes here, and then you snap the leg. Okay, we'll talk about the kicking action in a second. So just do a couple of these. We do them both ways. I'm doing Shudan, so you can do Shudan or you can do Jodan, whichever you're more happy to do or comfortable. As you warm up, you might change your mind. So looking across, stepping, knee up, kick, and back down. Now I always bring the foot back to the knee to make sure that I have balance and control, and I think you should do the same as well. So again, make sure the hands are behind, step across, knee up, kick back, and down. Moate, step across, Moate, whoa. Yeah, kicking your own leg as you go through is probably not a good idea. So, from this position, showing it towards the camera, we're trying to use the edge of the foot. Okay, so we're using the outer edge of the foot, sock toe. Outer edge. So if you think of this as my foot, this is the outer edge. Okay, obviously this is shuto, but we're going to think of that as the outer edge, sokoto. So you can see here, back straight, arms behind, this helps a lot. Come across, point into the knee. I want to travel towards you, kick, and down. Once more. Step across, knee up, kick back and down. Now I don't know if the camera angle is allowing you to see that correctly, the foot in the correct position. It's difficult because I'm looking at a screen and the camera in two different places, so I struggle to do this. So I'll do it a couple more times. Okay, so from this position here, stepping across, side of the foot and back down. Now that was Jodan then. And now this time Chudan. Okay, so Yoko Geri Kiagi, Yoko Geri Kiagi, Maigeri, Maigeri, snap, Kiagi Geri, snap. It's the same. Yep. Snap, snap. So both of these are snap techniques. Okay, not pushing, they are snapping. Okay. The idea of these techniques, if you ever get hit really hard by Yoko Geri Kiagi or Maigeri, here, you go straight down. You don't go backwards, you just go down. Kiagi Geri here, you don't go over there, you go straight down. Kiagi Geri here, you go down and probably not get up. So these techniques are snap techniques, so it's in and out. So I like to think of these as little mini explosions. So it's a bang. Okay, a bit like a firework. Think of a firework. Okay, so bow and yoi. Hey, yoi. So I'm going to go sideways again. So os, hey, kibarachi. So looking to where you're going. Okay, higher grades you can obviously come from judachi position. Okay, but at the moment we're doing this Kion basic, so we're going to do it in kibarachi. So hands behind the back, keep that posture correct. looking where you're going, stepping across, kicking each. So kick and snap it back, knee, and back. Two down, two go down, each, and knee. 8 yummy. And it's funny, I used to find that as a really easy kick to do, and now, ever since I had my knee surgery and broke my left leg, I don't know if it's a mind thing, okay, it possibly is, but I struggle with this kick more than I used to. So in other words, I had this kick, I felt relatively, I was able to practice it comfortably, confidently, and be very sure that it would hit the target, have good control. Now as I'm getting older, I find this kick harder to do. And that may just be psychological, because physically my body's pretty much there. Okay, the knees are not great, but I do find it harder. And I think that's maybe because I'm trying to drill down into the technicalities of it. So it's a little bit of a nemesis, okay? It's one of those techniques that I practice a lot. Every now and then I see a slow improvement where I feel good when I've kicked, but it's certainly not one of my favourite kicks, okay? Whereas it used to be many years ago. Us. So Yoko Geri Kiyagi, you'll see within our syllabus book, okay, that this again comes right the way through from white belt through to brown belt, okay? And then when we do Yoko Geri Kiyagi again, you don't do it again, okay, unless you see in the syllabus somewhere, and it's usually in the adult part of the syllabus. I'm going to just try and find it. He says, no, not even in the adult syllabus do you find Yoko Geri Kiyagi and Kikomi together, okay? But you may be given that as part of your grading, because I used to do that. So that's where you show the difference between your Kiyagi and your Kikomi. So we'll move on to Kikomi, okay, and leave Kiyagi where it is. And the difference between the two is really quite simple. One is a snap kick, which is the Kiyagi. One is a thrust kick, which is Kikomi. Okay, so we're going to do Kikomi. Now, Kikomi, again, from a beginner perspective, is done in side stance, but also we use it as part of our syllabus in a higher grade level, and we do it in front stance, Zen Kutsurachi. Remember I said earlier about Kiyagi Geri not really being a kick that's done well in front stance? That's why it's not part of the syllabus. Okay, you can do Mai Geri Kiyagi, which we've done as part of our higher grade black belt syllabus, but I don't think that's an effective kick, as I've said to my instructors many times. People will argue that it's good practice. I don't think there's any good practice in something that doesn't work. So that's just a personal opinion, and it stays personal. Okay, so Yoko Geri Kikomi. So the differences with this kick then, it's got a thrust. So we've done this kick a few times a few weeks ago. So if I just come from this area here, and come into side stance again as before, okay, in Kibadachi. Remember with Kiyagi, we point the knee where we want to go, and then we snap the leg and we come back. Kikomi is different. Kikomi, the supporting leg is going to pivot as we thrust the hip in the direction of the kick, okay, and then the kick and the leg lock out. Now you're kicking with the heel, kakato, so the heel, okay, so you're thrusting and you're rotating the hip to push. So you're pushing your hip rather than rotating it. That's probably the wrong terminology. So again, from this angle here, step across, the knee will come up exactly the same as a Mai Geri. Exactly the same as a Mai Geri, but this time we're kicking this way, and then we're into side stance. So from here, step across, knee up, thrust, back, and down. Sideways. Kibadachi. Balance, look, step across, knee up, thrust, knee back, and down. Again, maintaining control. Looking direction, knee up, thrust, back, and down. Good job the dog didn't look up then. So this is a totally different kick, okay? And this is not a kick that goes bang, okay, that shocks. This is a kick that pushes someone away. Okay, so we are removing them from our area. Okay, so we don't want to see them again. So it's good for getting rid of people, not necessarily hurting them or stopping them, but giving us an opportunity to move away, And you're kicking with your hip. You're kicking Maegeri and your Kyagigeri with your hip, but this is a different motion. Okay, this is thrusting, pushing through. So think of Kyagi techniques as bangs, lightning, fireworks going off, that sort of thing. And then think of Kikomi as a Shinkansen bullet train, my favorite train, traveling along a mile-long train, traveling along 300 kilometers an hour, okay, and just continuously going across the country, pushing itself, the back engine, front engine pulling, the back engine pushing, right the way across the country, just not stopping, okay? And that's why they use them in Japan, because they work so efficiently and they're so fast and they don't stop. They go from one end of the country to the other. It's actually quicker than flying, and more prompt, I might add. So Yokogeri Kikomi, let's get into Kibadachi stance. Hands behind, step across, knee up, thrust back and down. Knee up, thrust back and down. Now you'll notice with me, okay, I'm pretty much waltzing all this evening, tilting quite possibly off my jiku, okay? This is compensation for bad knees. That's my excuse and I'm sticking with it. Here. Well, that was a good kick. That felt a good kick anyway, regardless of what it looked like, it felt good. Okay, so you will feel, and I think this is really noticeable in kicks, you will feel when you've got a good one. Punches, they generally feel good anyway, I think, but kicks, when you do a really nice Kyagigeri, Mawashi-geri, Kikomi-geri, Ushiro-geri, they feel great. There's something about it that makes you feel good about yourself. So Kikomi-geri, basic, right the way through our syllabus. So again, just referring to your booklet, you're coming from white belt, okay? So going for 10th kyu, past purple belt, you still see Yokogeri, Kyagi, Yokogeri, Kikomi, two separate kicks. Grading for brown belt, still the same, Yokogeri, Kyagi, Yokogeri, Kikomi. And then we sort of start to change more around. We might do a Maegeri Kyagi, okay? Which is the technique that I said to you that I don't particularly like a huge amount. And us. Okay, step forward, get number 8 each, and I will prove my point. So from this position here, Maegeri, Kyagigeri. Now you try to differentiate that between that Kyagigeri and a Moshigeri, and I think you're kicking Moshigeri. So that's why for me that does not work. But please be mindful that some instructors love it to pieces, and so they will almost certainly put it in your syllabus just to annoy you. Okay, but actually, it's to see if you can differentiate between the difference between your kicks. Kyagigeri, so the front, is a difficult kick to do. So sometimes that may be in syllabus. So let's go back to Kikomi, and this time we're going to do it from a higher grade perspective. So we bow, and we step forward down Gidanbarai each. So from here, we're going to kick Yokogeri, sorry, we're not going to kick Yokogeri, we're going to kick Kikomi-geri, Yorakin Gekuzuki. So we're delivering the kick now to the front, and we're in Zenkutsudachi, okay? Hayoi, and step down, so kicking through. Kikomi-geri, Yorakin Gekuzuki. I've got room for one more. So from here, Kikomi-geri, Yorakin Gekuzuki. Knee is the same as Maegeri, then pivot, push the hip. Same position, push. Keep my balance this time, because I didn't sit down then. So kick here. Think Maegeri, and then turn. Maegeri, and turn. Maegeri, Maegeri, yeah, hold, kick on me, yep. My balance is skew iffy this evening, it's not great. I think if you struggle with certain kicks, when you put the combination together, it actually helps with your balance a little bit. These kicks for me are much easier in judachi, fighting stance, and moving rather than from static, I think is probably the right thing to say. So kicking through, don't bring the knee round. It's not mawashi-geri. Make sure you're here, then pivot. Okay, then push. Kick, knee, push, back, down. Argument for Chudan and Jodan. Okay, can be done at both levels. Chudan, here, here. It's a devastating kick to the back as well. If you turn your opponent, kick to here. Okay, so they're your target areas. Okay, so you do Chudan and Jodan. Traditionally, in most dojos, people kick Chudan. Okay, and the reason being is that Kikomi is a kick where you thrust, in other words, you completely lock out. So therefore, more difficult to pull back, so difficult to control. So as this is a pushing kick, we tend to keep it Chudan for safety reasons. You can still kick during demonstrations to the throat, okay, but you have to be very, very careful, because if you push too hard, you can imagine the consequences could be quite grim for that person. So have that in the sort of back of your head when you're kicking Kikomi. I've seen people kick Kikomi up here. I'm not sure why. I know it looks good. It looks great, but not sure why you'd do that. Okay, and of course you're fighting a giant. But then, better to go low, take the giant's knees away, it becomes the same height as you. So, I don't know. So, Kiyagi, snapping, Kikomi, thrusting. Yeah, snap, thrust. So think of one as flip, push. Not quite the right analogy, but that hopefully will give you some sort of idea, as it were. Okay. So if we did, I can't do Kiyagi Kikomi in the dojo because I haven't got enough room. I'm not going to have enough width to show the difference between the two. But you may be asked in a grading to be able to do that. So that means you'll be kicking side stance, Kiyagi step forwards, snap, and then step through Kikomi thrust. Okay, I'm going to run out of room, so there's no point in attempting it, but you understand that might be part of your syllabus. So the Kikomi Uraken Gyakuzuki, that is part of the second cue moving forwards, okay, towards black belt. So that is something that you definitely will need to do if you're a brown belt. You need to start learning that combination as well. I don't think it's too difficult, you know, depends on whether you're a fan of these two kicks or not. Okay, conscious of the time and the fact that we probably won't get Mawashi-geri, Ushira-geri done this evening. So what we'll do is we'll do a quick recap of what we've covered this evening, okay, by just kicking forwards and backwards and making sure that everybody understands what's appropriate for what grade. If you're ever unsure, go to your reference guide, okay? Gives you the foundations of what should be in your grading. Now, occasionally you'll go to a grading and you'll come away and you'll say, wow, he missed out a whole section, or she didn't even do that kick. You might be lucky there, but also your sensei might be in tune with what you're doing and watching what you're doing and thinking, well, actually, I saw that last time. I don't need to see that this time. Sometimes we make mistakes as instructors. We are human after all, and so that can happen. But that's not the point. The point is that you have your reference guide to remember, okay, and learn. My job, I was told, as a kohai, okay, as a junior grade, my instructor said to me, your job is to learn this upside down, back to front, inside out, round and round, doesn't matter what way. And if I say something to you from your syllabus, you go, sensei, not sensei, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, the sensei's job is to show you the way, yeah, or a way. Your job is to find your way. It's really important because we're all on different journeys, okay? As much as we follow this wonderful path called Shotokan, okay, there are millions of little diversions that we all have to take and do to challenge ourselves, okay? So look at your syllabus book. When you come up to grading for brown belt, you'll notice that the kicks start to go into combinations. We have the Maegeri Kiyagi that I talked about, potentially. Mawashi-geri Kikomi, I'll show you that in a second. A Kiyagi Kikomi, as I just said, I don't think I have room to do that. So just very quickly, in fact, what we'll do the Mawashi-geri on Thursday because that's part of the Mawashi-geri kicks. But if I can, I'll try and see if I don't think I can get these two kicks in. I might be able to shorten my stance. So Kiyagi Geri here, snap. I'm going to pull this. Now I'm going to shuffle back. Don't want to have an expensive computer. Here, Kikami. You can see the difference, I hope, between the two. Snap kick, thrust kick. Okay, so wait. So just to finish the lesson, step forward, Gidan Barai, each. Okay, so kick in Mai Geri, forwards. Chudan Geri, each. Ai Mawate turn. Mai Geri Jodan, each. Ni. Ai Mawate turn. Mai Geri Kizami Gyakuzuki, each. Ni. Mawate turn. Mai Geri Kizami Gyakuzuki. Yeah. Hey, you may. Right, us. Us. Hey, yoi. Hey, Kimirach. Yoko Geri Kiyagi. Ich. Wate. Ni. Wate. Yoko Geri Kikomi. Ich. Ni. Wate turn. Hey, yame. Hey, yoi. Us. Hey, step forward, Gidan Barai, each. Kikomi Yorakan Yakuzuki. Ich. Ni. More tight. Ich. Ni. Hey, me. Emily. What? I fear age is catching up with me. I can tell after an hour of kicking that my legs have, well, especially my knee, has had enough. So the balance is going. So it's probably a good idea that we start to draw the lesson to a close because I need to kick on Thursday. So for me personally, having suffered 2 significant lower leg injuries, shattered left leg, tib and fib, unfortunately, and then 3 major knee surgeries on my right knee where I have no cartilage at all. I have had to learn to kick again, essentially, so from a different perspective from what I used to do. And for me, that's actually been a good experience in some ways, painful, because I very rarely train without pain. But it's made me go back to the beginning and re-look at my technique and my form and everything and try to readjust, if that makes sense. So it's almost been like being reborn, if that makes sense. I don't think my kicks are as good as they were. They're definitely stronger than they were because the technique, I think, is the mindset behind the technique is definitely better. Okay, so I know what I should be doing. Physically, I can't quite necessarily do what I want to do, but it's here. It's wanting, and every now and then you get that perfect kick and you just feel really good about yourself. And you will do that. Okay, you will have those moments in karate where you do kikomi and there's this amazing crack of the gi. It sounds like there's a sonic boom in the dojo. Everyone looks at you and you just walk around us that little bit taller for a few minutes or years. Okay, so it really does make you feel good. But I think whatever your ability, whatever your level, you've got to train to you and know when you maybe need to stop. I used to be really bad and I used to just keep training through injury, which is why I ended up in surgery. Okay, if you're having pain, you stop immediately, you ice it, you raise it, you elevate it, you let it calm down, and then you return back to when you can. Yeah, you can train kicks regardless of your ability. I've trained somebody with only 1 leg. Okay, it can be done. If you've got arthritis and things like that, yes, kicks are going to be painful, but you can still do kicks. You can do low-level kicks. Okay, so there is always a way. Remember, karate is about Shotokan as a way, but finding your way and fitting within that border. Well, it's not a border, but that scenario there. Okay, so hopefully that's giving you some idea of our Kion kicks so far. So we've done just Maigiri, Kiagi, Kikomi. So Thursday we'll do Mawashi Geri and the combinations that follow that kick, and then the very tricky back kick, Ushura Geri. Okay, which I think causes people a lot of problems, and understandably so, because unfortunately it's probably misinterpreted by most people who start karate as a spinning kick, which it is not. So we'll cover that off on Thursday. Okay, hopefully, fingers crossed, you can join me then. If you can't, then you'll watch this back. But anyway, thanks ever so much for joining me in the dojo this evening. We'll finish as per normal, so we'll straighten our gis and obis, and then we'll do the Dojo-kun, okay? The Dojo-kun is something that, remember, you need to learn, okay, in English and Japanese. At the moment, we're just using the Japanese, but I will spend the lesson over the next few weeks explaining what it is in English and what it is in Japanese, okay? Okay, and please don't forget the Spring Keiko, 27th of March, 9 o'clock till 10:30, okay, on Zoom. You just need to message me and I will be able to send you the details for that. And hopefully we'll have a really, really good morning's training, okay? Also, if you're a black belt and you're 16 and above and you wish to join our black belt session every Saturday morning at the moment at 10 o'clock, then please let me know and I'll make sure I add you to our WhatsApp group, okay? And you can join that. Okay, Kiyotsuke, just straighten again, Obi. Okay, Anrei os Dojo-kun hitotsu Jinkan Kokansei ni soramoto koto. Hitotsu Makato no michi o momoru koto. Hitotsu Doryogo no seishin yashinao koto. Hitotsu Regyo o monjuro o koto. Hitotsu Kekki no yo imashimuru koto. Rei os. Thank you so much. As always, I see you Thursday. Look forward to it. And juniors, hope you're enjoying school. Good to be back, I hope. Fingers crossed. I've got to be honest, it's lovely to have you back. Okay, just having people in the building is a big thing. We haven't got all of ours back yet. We're still testing, but it's great to see everybody. Thank you for your lovely comments, as always. Thank you very much, Kayla. Thank you very much, everybody. Ken, us, Harry, us, Tim, and everybody. Us, Isaac, us, Kevin. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me, because it makes me feel a little bit better that there's other people that love this as much as I do. Us, Michaela and Betsy. Us. So my dog's just started dreaming. He might hear some funny noises. Oh, bless her. Anyway, oyasumasai, arigatou gozaimasu. Excellent. Thank you very much. Jamasani. See you soon. Us.